Hello, hello, and welcome to the Fairy Coach Tarot channel. We are looking at the weekly energy by choosing a deck or choosing a fairy. So, we have an interesting week because we have a dark moon on Tuesday, and sometimes the energy of the dark moon and the new moon get a little confused. So, the dark moon is time for introspection, right? So this is a perfect tarot reading to get what this new moon is asking, well, this dark moon is asking of us. So when that new moon energy, that's the period between the dark moon and the first quarter of the moon, when it begins to grow, what that moon energy is going to push into. So let's get started. And first, move your shoulders a little, release any tension, and then let's take a couple of deep breaths to settle, ground, center, and connect. Let's get started. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose, hold at the top, and gently exhale through the mouth, making that exhale longer than the inhale. Let's do it one more time. Inhale through the nose, hold at the top, and release. Exhale, making that exhale longer. All right, one more time. Inhale, hold, and release the tension. Now, without even thinking, choose a deck or a fairy and see what calls more to you. Ready? Okay, let's look at the pink fairy. We're going to look first at the beginning of the week, then the middle of the week, the end of the week, and then we're going to put it all together. Ready? We have the beginning of the week, middle of the week, and end of the week. All right. So for the beginning of the week, that would be Monday or Tuesday, we have the 10 of Wands, right? And what is this card making us look at, reflect on with that dark moon energy that comes on Tuesday? And this is all about looking into everything that you have on your plate, right? Look at everything you're carrying. Take an assessment of if are you carrying things that belong to you, or are you carrying also responsibilities, emotions, emotional labor that belongs to somebody else, right? So this beginning of the week with this dark moon energy is asking for you to reflect on what you're carrying, right? And make sure that you are not taking on too much, right? This is also a positive card in the sense that it's saying if you feel you're carrying too much, know that that can be changed. And the first way, and I'm sorry, the first step we take to change something we don't want or something that is not serving us is by taking an honest look at it. So, the beginning of the week with that dark moon is about reflecting on what you're carrying. And that's physical labor, emotional labor, responsibilities. Just take an honest look at everything you're carrying, right? And what are we moving into as that dark moon energy moves into the new moon, right? And here, or the middle of the week, that's the Three of Cups. And this goes together very well because it's saying at the beginning, look at what you're carrying, right? Make an assessment of what's going on right now in your life and everything that you are doing, everything that you are feeling, right? And then reassess. And the best way to these three of cups, that it's cooperation and celebration with others, it just means that there may be some things that you need to delegate. There may be some things that are not meant for you to be carried. And here he's saying the middle of the week calls for you to make connections with others. That three of cups, those connections with others. And that is for different reasons. First, for having support, so it's kind of having a support team. But the other thing is because maybe you have to let other people know by building those boundaries, hey, I'm carrying stuff that it's not mine to carry. I'm doing some things that you need to be doing. Or I am putting so much emotional labor in our relationship when it should be more balanced. So whatever it is, reflect on that and then reach out to others, either a support team that supports you or to the people, depending on what this question says to you when you reflect on it. What do I need to give away? What is not mine to carry at this time? Right? And how are you finishing the week? Because then, yeah, by the end of the week, we're really moving into that new moon energy and leaving the dark moon, right? So the King of Cups, and the King of Cups is an energy that is deep, it has depth, that is all about feelings and emotions, but not on being emotional like when it's looked at as a negative way, but it is about gaining control of our emotional self, right? And good ways to become this king is to be grounded, to find our center of calm inside of us. What brings us calm and helps us handle life like this king who is so in touch with his emotions that he can navigate life and all the different currents, emotional currents that life throws at him. So what is it when we put this reading together, right, for the week? So we begin the week joining that with the energy and joining that dark moon energy of introspection that is telling you to look at everything you're carrying, to look at everything you're doing, to reassess if you're doing too much. The middle of the week. Once you've done this, move into building or being with your support team, or transferring some of what, delegating of that extra stuff that you're carrying that it's not yours to carry. And then as you get to the weekend, then it's all about you. So in the sense of finding that center inside of you that gives you calm, and you can do that with different things. Practice grounding techniques, go out in nature, even if what centers you is to have a marathon of like TV series that you like, anything that makes you feel calm and makes you be able to take on what will come next week, like this king from a center of calmness and emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, because he is the king of emotional intelligence. So I hope you liked your reading. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and reach out for private sessions, pre-recorded readings, and follow me for my daily shorts. All right. Now, let's look at our blue fairy and this beautiful deck and see what the week has in store for us, what messages the tarot brings with this dark moon, new moon energy that we will have. All right. And two cards for the beginning of the week. They are jumpy. middle of the week, and end of the week. All right, let's see how this is beginning. So here we have another Seven of Swords and a Page of Swords. So we have two swords, right? And what is the beginning of this week asking of us as we walk into that dark moon energy? And is asking us to really see how we are engaging with others in life, right? And this does not mean that you're doing anything wrong, but it does mean that you need to have an honest look into yourself and an honest look into how you have been interacting with others, right? Have you been fair? Have you been honest? Are you considerate of others? Are you practicing empathy? And even if you do not agree with someone else, but can you see life from their perspective, right? So this is what the energy is calling mostly, right? That we need to examine our behaviors, not only sometimes we're quick to judge the behavior of others. And this is with this dark moon to think about our own and how we are engaging with others, right? And this is saying once you've done that, once you've answered that question, how are you engaging with others? What what behaviors, attitudes, energy may not be the most appropriate? So take a really honest and challenging look into that. And then it says, because right now, the best way to build better relationships is to make sure you understand what energy you're bringing into the mix. And then having the humility to say, hey, I'm going to manage my own energy, to have that humility that helps me grow. And then I will be able to change relationships and circumstances around me. So it does not mean to punish yourself or be harsh on yourself. It just means to be honest, right? Because growth, and the page is somebody who grows. Growth comes from self-awareness, self-reflection, and self-knowledge, right? And that goes perfect with the dark moon energy. So dark moon is asking you to examine how are you interacting with others? What type of energy, attitude, and behavior you're bringing into your relationships? And then have the courage to grow from that, right? And as you're moving to the middle of the week, right, we have more swords. So it's interesting. We have more swords. So we're moving away from the Tuesday dark moon. We are in Wednesday and Thursday. Is saying, if you've examined everything you've examined here, that does not mean if something comes out wrong and you say, well, maybe I should have done this different, or maybe I should be acting different, or my attitude has not been the same. This Nine of Swords is saying, well, you maybe are being too harsh on yourself. Those thoughts are not helping. So you want to grow from doing that inner work, right? But you don't want to imprison yourself and get down on yourself. You're human. Using self-validation and understanding also your position or why things have been like this, and giving yourself that space to grow, to learn. And no, this card is also saying hey, if things are heavy right now, because this is a lot of swords, and swords can feel very challenging when there are so many swords in a reading, saying, hey, if the energy is feels too heavy, if things around me feel too heavy, and I've even examined my own behaviors and I'm just getting down, or I don't seem to be getting out of this. What this is saying is it's time to not think so much. All right. So you're reflecting here at the beginning of the week. Here it's saying, okay, it's time to stop, right? It's time to use self-validation, to use encouraging words, and to change the way I'm thinking or I'm viewing the energies right now, right? I did my self-reflection. I know where I have to grow, but I cannot punish myself for the past, right? So do not become a prisoner of your past or of your thoughts. And the weekend brings us more swords, a two of swords. Wow. This is a very, very powerful, interesting reading, because the two of swords is all about gaining clarity and with your decisions. So when we're putting everything together here, what I'm seeing is a lot of swords that can feel very heavy, but with the new moon energy, this is all about growth and reflection. So examine everything about this past moon cycle. Examine your relationships, your attitudes, your behaviors. Adopt a growth mindset. Do not imprison yourself, and get clarity, right? In the sense that do not make any decisions while being in this state of mind. So this is all about not making decisions until you have clarity. Do not use the sword if you cannot see. So do not make decisions from this state of mind. So if you got this reading, please do not be scared because it's all swords. To the contrary, swords are communication, are intellect. And coupled with this dark moon is all about growth. It's think of this page of swords is all about growth. It's about examining yourself, your behaviors, but also forgiving yourself for things, not imprisoning yourself in your thoughts, and not making, that's towards the end of the week, not making any impulsive decisions, but finding calm right now. It's all about finding calm as we will move on onto that new moon energy next week. So time for reflection, time for embracing growth, and forgiving yourself for anything that has not worked out. This is not about forgiving others or changing others. This is about giving yourself validation, love, and understanding. And yes, the weekend would call for not making any decisions, just calm self-care and self-love. All right, for you. So I hope you found this reading helpful. Remember that you can reach out if you want us to look more in depth at your particular situation. This is a collective reading, right? And give me a thumbs up and subscribe to get my weekly videos. But again, it's just moving energy. So it's time for reflection and not decisions for you. And let's see what the yellow fairy brings for us. If you've picked this fairy on this deck, let's see what the tarot has to say. Let's see what energies at the beginning of the week bring. And middle of the week, and end of the week. Oh, 3. I thought 2 were coming out, but 3 came out. So they go like this. So, all right, let's see what the beginning of the week brings for you. And it brings the Hermit. Perfect card for the dark moon energy, because the Hermit is all about introspection, but it's all about going within. So then later on, we can share our wisdom with others. And the Hermit, so the energies for Monday and Tuesday is pretty much what the tarot would say is it's not a time for action. It's not about making plans or doing anything. It's about spending time with yourself, giving yourself a space to be able to reflect on the things that happen in the last moon cycle, right? And things that may have been happening lately. So it's about not isolation, but times of solitude, times in which you connect with yourself. So this is the main message of the Hermit at the beginning of the week, is find time to connect with yourself and quiet the noise of others. And it goes perfect with that dark moon energy that is asking for the same thing. So when we put those two things together, very powerful. And the middle of the week. And here we get the 3 of Swords. And what is the 3 of Swords? Calling or letting us know that it may be about things that have hurt us, right? And if we are connecting with ourselves in the beginning of the week, and then the middle of the week, we get the 3 of Swords, it's perhaps that time of solitude or that thinking and connecting to ourselves has brought to light things that have hurt us. And the 3 of Swords does not tell you that something's going to come to hurt you, but it does signal at things that have been painful. And the best or one of the best places to be when you're at the 3 of Swords is to look at what has hurt, to look at those wounds so you can tend to them, because wounds need to be tended to, giving love and care and tending to those wounds. So again, we continue with that deep dark moon energy that tells us to go within. And we have the Hermit that says time for solitude, time to look at yourself, spend time just reflecting, just connecting with yourself. And also, as we're moving into Wednesday and Thursday, take a look at your wounds. Maybe there are things from the past that you haven't taken care of. And if we do not heal a wound, it will open up again. And then we end up bleeding onto others. So this, the beginning of this week and even the middle of the week, is about you doing a lot of inner work, tending to your heart, to past wounds, and spending time with yourself, reflecting. And then and then we'll start looking at all the energy that starts at the end. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it comes from the Queen of Pentacles, the Judgment, and the Star card. So excellent cards to finish the week for you. So here we have all this healing that needs to be done at the beginning of the week, right? And the middle of the week, while at the end of the week is saying, hey, step into your power. The Queen of Pentacles is a generous, loving heart, and this is about you stepping into your own power, right? Knowing the future is bright, knowing that you got this, you got life, and it's okay. So feeling empowered, being generous with yourself. So that means spoiling yourself. This is what this card is asking you. Spoil yourself when the weekend comes, right? And look at the past, not with resentment, not from pain, but from acceptance and from lessons learned and from wounds that have been healed and they move into wisdom, right? So it's telling you embrace where all this energy is taking you to and spoil yourself. This is very important. Spoil yourself. And here, and when we have it together, it's with the star, that it's hope, it's your North Star, is your purpose. So when we have the weekend put together is spoil yourself. Look at the past from a place of acceptance, right? And move and look into the future with hope and faith. So, beginning of the week, solitude, time to connect with yourself, time to reflect. Middle of the week, look at the wounds or at things that have hurt lately. Tend to these wounds. Ask yourself if this hurts, if what somebody said, somebody did, or how you reacted to something has hurt, what can I do to tend to my wound? How can, in a healthy way, make myself feel better? And the weekend says, okay, now we've done all this inner work and it's time to spoil yourself. Do things that you like, be with people that you love, be generous with life. And whenever you look back into the past with acceptance, not from resentment, not from anger, but with acceptance, moving towards a future that is full of hope. So it takes us into the energy of next week with hope and faith. So I hope you enjoyed your reading. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And again, if you need to look more in depth at your personal situation, know that I have offerings for different types of budgets that go from pre-recorded readings into live sessions with me. You have shorts daily and tell you about the energies of the day and what does the tarot's message or advice has. Again, these are collective readings, so if you want us to look exactly at your situation, reach out. All right, have a wonderful, magical, and blessed week.